this afternoon. It's really going to be good fun. Of course, qualifying yesterday was a big challenge for the likes of Norbert Kish and a lot of the front runners with all of the temperatures that they had to deal with, but still, it's really come together, and look at the amount of fans that we have out here. It's absolutely wonderful. The grandstand was packed this morning. I had a quick walk up and down the pit lane, and everybody was watching on in great anticipation to see just who might emerge and who we would be cheering on. And you can see, of course, a number of Hungarian flags, even with Norbert Kish's truck on it there as well. A lot of his home fans coming out to see the absolute superstar try and take another race victory. As we heard from Christina, it's going to be Sascha Lenz's 200th race today in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. He currently sits on 199, but once he makes this race start, that will tick over to 200. You can see there the trucks making their way out onto the circuit right now. And then once they make their way around, we will go through the qualifying order and, of course, the grid for this first race of the weekend for you. There will be another celebration of a driver passing a big milestone this weekend as well. Race 3 of the weekend, which will be the first race tomorrow, will be Antonio Albatetti's 500th race in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. So we wish him all the best for a good weekend. On his way to those 500 races, the 57-year-old has racked up 274 podiums, 107 race wins, and over 60 pole positions. He's a 3-time champion as well in the ETLC, winning the title in 2005, 2006 and 2010. 25 years total in the series. It's an incredible record for Antonio, and I saw him a couple of times yesterday, and he was saying that this is a very tricky circuit to get right. You can see just about how steep the elevation changes there down turn 2 and down to turn 3. Then they go back up the hill here towards what is turn 4, the kink at the left-hander, and then turn 5, the long right-hander. There's a tricky chicane as well, partway around the lap, which is turns 6 and 7. And that's where the drivers will be negotiating just shortly. We're going to have a look at the results from yesterday, though, just to show you exactly how they're going to line up on the grid and how close the session was. But then again, close wasn't really the word that you could use to describe the top 2 positions. Norbert Kish taking pole in his homeland for Revesh Racing, and he was nearly 0.7 of a second clear of Sascha Lenz. So it's trucks 1 and 2, P1 and 2. Adam Lachko third, only a few thousandths behind Sascha. Then we have Jochen Hahn, truck 4, P4. Antonio Albatetti lines up alongside Steffi Halm on row 2, but a second between those 2 trucks, so the top 5 really breaking away. Then we have Teo Calve, top of the Promoters Cup drivers, in 7th. Stefan Faas, unfortunately, has had an issue with his engine and the gearbox, I believe, so he will not take to the grid this morning. He's ahead of Anthony Janiak and Shane Brereton. Truck 11, P11 is Andrei Kurzim, ahead of Jamie Anderson. And Martin Gibson, a driver from the British Truck Racing Championship, is replacing Rene Reiner this weekend due to a shoulder injury. So Rene, unfortunately, will not be joining us for these races. We hope to see him back sooner rather than later, though. Rene is always an exciting addition to have on the grid. We've seen many a fun race with him involved, with very vigorous defending and very aggressive overtaking. He's a great spectacle, is Rene. But here you see the trucks just calmly making their way round now to the grid. That there is Antonio Albatetti and Andrei Kurzim. Just ahead of them was Jochen Hahn and Adam Lachko. There's Teo Calve in the Freightliner as well. The wonderful Bagheera Racing Freightliners. And coming back to the track for me this weekend has been fantastic. You know, you forget how big these trucks are and how much noise they make. They really do make a racket. I was working yesterday with Barbara to actually do a sort of semi-live broadcast on Instagram yesterday to just quickly recap on qualifying and give everybody a bit of a view of how it was, and it was so loud from where we were stood trackside. It was incredible. There you see, though, all the fans, all the personnel down there on the grid. I believe I see Tony Idden from the FIA down there on the grid. It's great to see Tony again. He's always a good laugh. But we have everybody all lining up where the teams and drivers will have one last chat and one last check over everything, and then we will get everything underway. We hope you're all having a good weekend so far, though, and we hope you continue to enjoy the action with us. Here's your grid then. Norbert Kish and Sascha Lenz on the front row. Trucks 1 and 2, after a fantastic title fight last year. Thumbs up from Adam Lachko. He starts third with Jochen Hahn alongside him, the absolute superstar that is Jochen Hahn, 6-time champion. Next up, Antonio Albacete, the Spanish legend, against our wonderful, wonderful female driver, Steffi Halm. Next up, Teo Calve, the absolute superstar in the Promoters' Cup. Stefan Faas would be lining up alongside him, but unfortunately, due to those issues, not today. Anthony Janiek starts inside the top 10 in 9th with Shane Brayton just behind him in 10th. He'll be looking to make some progress and go chasing after Teo for that Promoters' Cup. Row 6 is quite a surprise for Andre Kurzim, actually. He's a lot further down than we expected him to be. He's going to be starting alongside Jamie Anderson, who will also be looking for a good start early on. Martin Gibson lines up 13th, and alongside him is Heinrich Clemens Hecker, who we didn't see in qualifying yesterday, unfortunately, so he will be starting from the back of the grid in 14th position. You can hear all of the air horns and everybody sort of celebrating the fact that Norby is even on the grid. There is a massive amount of support for him here. We even saw at Misano a few weeks ago that there was so many people out rooting for Norby. And he loves racing in his home country. Who wouldn't? Everybody that I've spoken to so far this weekend has said that they expect him to be dominantly quick because of the fact that he knows this place like the back of his hand. He has more opportunity to test here, and he has that advantage of it being his home circuit. It's certainly very important. There's your front row, trucks 1 and 2. Norbert Kish on the inside of turn 1. Sasha Lenz having to try and make it work from the outside of that front row. Let's not forget as well, last year we had the huge accident in the second race for Stefan Faas. Luckily he walked away, he jumped out of the truck just fine, but after contact at the first corner it broke some of the brakes on the right hand side, on the rear, and basically had a brake failure into the next corner and the truck went straight on into the barrier. The clip of it actually went quite quickly like wildfire all over the internet. And it introduced a lot of people to truck racing, actually. There was a number of people commenting on there saying that they've watched Formula One, they've watched World Touring Cars, they've watched GT racing, but they never knew that truck racing existed. And that actually helped to sort of shine a light on truck racing for us all. So thank you, Stefan. But we apologise that it cost you some brakes and some damage. There is Norbert Kish and his team all preparing to go. Drinks, very important here on the grid. And anywhere around the paddock, it is so hot. It got to about 33 degrees yesterday afternoon. It's a different type of heat out here. It's just the humidity. It's so sticky. We can see Christina making her way around to Sasha Lenz just there. I believe we'll probably be going to her in a moment. But look at the heat haze there across the grid. Our wonderful Ford F-Max and our Iveco S-Way. They'll be both making their way around the circuit in a few minutes' time. But it's nice to have this packed grid with so many spectators, so many personnel. Always makes it such an occasion to see everyone out there. And our beautifully coloured grid is ready to go. And Christina is down there with us for the first of the interviews of the weekend.
Yes, it's the first, and there are going to be a lot. Sasha Lenz, 200th race ahead of you. It is, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Really not.
So we keep the numbers up then. Great conditions, the weather is fine, and the spectators are in a good mood too. I hope you are too.
Yeah, I hope so. We have a really nice weather. But in the outside it's very hot. So maybe I hope that it becomes not a problem with the tires, with the same as in Misano. Yeah. I hope I have a good start. That's really important today. And then we will see after the race.
Does the experience with the tires from Misano help right now, getting to know the truck a little bit more?
Yeah, we find a little bit in Misano, so we make the same setup, or not the same, a little bit different setup from Misano. But I make a long run on the second free practice yesterday. And it was good. The times was every time stable, but we will see. Now it's a race, and every time is different.
Thank you very much. 200th race, so we've got the information. Chaz, let's go have a look. We've been talking about René Reinhardt here. Unfortunately, not in a race suit, but in a quite nice blue suit. René Reinhardt, good to see you here, but not in the truck. That's a pity. You've got a shoulder injury. What happened?
Yeah, it's not an injury. It's just I have pain since some weeks already in the shoulder, and when I'm working with my arm, and working hard, then it's all the time much more, And also in Misano, it came also some cramp in the arm, before the races, and that was not so funny. Yeah. So and I went to the doctor now, and now I will get some treatment the next weeks, and then I will see how it works.
We hope to see you back soon then. You've got Martin Gibson driving for you. Shall we have a small walk here at the grid?
Yeah.
Together with our cameraman, we need to walk slowly. So how did you manage to organize another driver then?
It was a decision on the last weekend, when I felt, okay, it's not better after the Misano race. Before it was all the time after 1 week, it was already better, but in this time it was 2 weeks after the Misano race. It was not better, and I decided, okay, it's maybe make more sense not to drive. And I wrote a message to Martin and asked how he doing, and if he have maybe if he want to come to drive my truck. And 30 minutes later he said, yeah, why not? I can handle it. It's possible. And then I had also to ask the FIA how we can do it. And during 2 days we find a solution. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday, last weekend, Sunday evening, everything was clear already.
That's really quick decision also from the FIA, of course. So, Chaz, back to you. We're going to have a walk to Martin Gibson right now, and we'll be faster if not while talking, I think.
Thank you very much, Christina. Great to see René Reiner still here at the event, though. It's lovely to see. And it is a real shame not to have him out there on the grid this weekend. But we wish him a speedy recovery and hope that he is back out there as soon as he can be. And, of course, when it is safe medically to get him back out there on the grid. But as you see, it is a very, very hot day. You can see it there, actually. 28 degrees Celsius, as it said on the board in the top left there. And considering that it's not even 12 at the moment, then that is mighty, mighty hot. Anthony Janiek there in the, well, you could call it a hot yellow, number 66 MAN. He's certainly been pushing hard this weekend. There was a number of times he came out of the final corner yesterday and had a big, big slide because they just try and get on the power as soon as they can. And the back end can easily step out in these things very, very quickly. They see all the doors open on the trucks as well. Just try to get that ventilation through. And it's incredibly important to get that. And we're back with Christina. Thank you very much, Christina. Nice and quick getting down the grid there, actually.
I saw myself walking on screen. It was not that quick, but so Martin Gibson is here. We want to present you to the audience of the FIA Goodyear European Truck Racing Championship. We are live on YouTube. Welcome to the grid, and thanks for stepping in to René Reiner. He already explained when did he call you, but how was your reaction?
Obviously very surprised because I haven't been in a truck for a while, but obviously it was brilliant. I couldn't turn it down. It's a bit of a struggle at the moment, but step by step we'll get there.
Yes, what is the main struggling if you're not driving as much as you did in the last couple of months?
I think with this, it's trusting it. It's trusting what it can do and getting yourself back in the groove, but step by step, as I said.
What do you say about all the One Truck family here? Because it is truly a family and they might have welcomed you warmly.
Oh, it's incredible. I feel like I've been here for years. Like I know everybody already. It's really good.
Thank you very much. And we clearly know that feeling. So let's have a walk down here to Jamie Anderson, because he had some engine issues yesterday evening. So this is his truck with a brand new engine. And also Stefan Faas, as Chaz Drycourt was also mentioning, he needed to change his engine. Unfortunately, he will not be competing today, but Jamie Anderson can. So first let's have a look at the pictures, how Stefan Faas was changing the engines, and they shared a crane also. Have a look. There's something big missing here.
Ja, wir haben gestern im Qualifying eigentlich eine recht gute Zeit gefahren und waren total motiviert, dass wir in die Super 10 reingekommen sind und haben da probiert auch nochmal richtig Gas zu geben und haben dann in der schnellen Runde gemerkt, genau auf Startziel, dass wir einen kommenden Motorschaden bekommen. Ich bin dann... Ja.
So I'm trying to translate it, and yes, in the heat is not really easy to remember all. So we're here at his position, and you can see they were very successful during the qualifying. They were really happy with their position, but then soon at the checkered flag position, he thought something is wrong with his truck.
Ja, und dann bin ich gleich rausgefahren, habe den Motor abgestellt und dann haben wir auch festgestellt, dass der Motor Öl zieht und quasi Öl verbrennt und somit haben wir kurzerhand beschlossen, wir haben einen Ersatzmotor dabei und den bauen wir rein und dann haben wir gesagt, getan, haben wir angefangen, das ganze Team hat Vollgas gegeben, wir haben über die ganze Nacht den Motor und das Getriebe getauscht und sind heute Morgen fürs Warm-up. Ich habe genau 2 Stunden geschlafen und bin dann in den Truck rein und habe eine Runde gefahren und habe festgestellt, dass die Kupplung durchrutscht. Und dann haben wir versucht, das kurzerhand zu beheben und haben dann gesehen, dass eine kleine Leckage da ist, wo Öl rauskommt und das auch wohl auf die Kupplung kommt. Und jetzt habe ich zum Team gesagt, dass das in der kurzen Zeit ja auch nicht möglich ist, da wir ja nicht geschlafen haben, dass die Jungs sich jetzt einmal regenerieren, ausruhen, duschen und einfach mal wieder ein bisschen sich hinlegen und dann nach dem ersten Rennen wir starten mit dem Versuch, das zu reparieren, sodass wir auf jeden Fall heute noch fahren können oder spätestens morgen.
Thank you very much. I will translate that. Thanks for coming, because you did sleep just 2 hours, and I will explain that right now. Thank you very much. Good luck for you and the team. So he said that as soon as they noticed that there was something wrong with the engine, let's have a slow walk if it's possible for you. Then the whole team was changing the engine, of course, as we have seen in the pictures. They were working throughout all night. So Stefan Faas himself, he's just slept 2 hours. The whole team just slept less, maybe. So then they decided, let's have a quick warm-up and check around. But then they saw that the clutch was a bit slippery then. And yes, the engine originally was losing oil. This is why they were changing it. And then they found a little leak as well, so that there was a bit of oil slipping out. That was a big problem then. And then they decided, okay, shall we fix that or shall we have a good sleep right now? And we're not sleeping right now. The trucks are getting started. So now it's time to race.
Our wonderful official truck of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, the Ford F-Max. It's fantastic to still have it on our grid. One of the 2 absolute beautiful machines that we have around our paddock. There's this and the Iveco S-Way, but the Ford gets put through its paces on its inspection lap every time, just to make sure everything is nice and clear on the circuit. There is no debris, nothing out of place, and we are all ready to go. You can see there the Ford Trucks banner as well at the top of the screen. Nice placement there. As well, really shredding up those front tyres is our driver. I think I don't think it's Frank driving the Ford. I always get it confused in which way round it is with the 2 of them. But we do have 2 drivers that drive our official truck and our pace truck across these weekends. And into the pit lane they go. And it's Ralph driving the Ford. I always forget Ralph's name. I'm really sorry to Ralph, but I always forget. I'm so bad. I should be good with names, being a commentator, but no, apparently not. There you go. The official truck completes its inspection lap, and all of a sudden you see there the grid is pretty much empty. No personnel, nobody waiting around or inspecting anything. The drivers and the teams all ready to go. There's a nice little replay of our Ford going into the chicane, really shredding up that front left tyre. Good to see the Ford being put through its paces. That shows you the temperature of this place, though. You can see just how much the tyres are really starting to smoke up under a little bit of load. Now, don't forget, as I've mentioned previously in the first round of the championship, Goodyear have a fantastic initiative this year with retreading the tyres. So these road tyres, or the racing tyres, I should say, that you see on these trucks do get retreaded and used on road trucks. eventually, once they've been through their paces. And it's Lucas that is driving the F-Max this time, so I'm even more sorry to Ralph because he's not here. It's Lucas, so apologies to Lucas. There is our Iveco S-Way pace truck, the bio-LNG powered machine. Those humongous bio-LNG tanks on the sides of it, powering that truck along. And it's a wonderful, wonderful machine. The interior of that Iveco as well is absolutely gorgeous. I was lucky enough to have a ride around Misano in that truck at the end of last season with Frank the Tank, as he's known, by me anyway. And Frank leads us away on the grid. And there you see, out of all of these sustainable fuels that we have here and sustainable methods in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, bio-LNG is the one that powers the Iveco S-Way. All of our trucks are powered by 100% renewable HVO diesel as well, so they have their own renewable energy source effectively. And just listen to that atmosphere. Listen to the atmosphere. All of the fans around the circuit, air horns blazing, everybody clapping and cheering on their favourite drivers. It is a phenomenal atmosphere here at the Hungaroring. It's my first ever visit to the circuit and even to the country as well. And it is a beautiful, beautiful place. The circuit is really well kept. The facilities are great as well. And it's a perfect place to go truck racing. We had a very exciting race meeting last season. We nearly had Norbert Kish winning all 4 races in a very dominant start to his campaign. But unfortunately, after the scrutineering checks, he felt that there was some components regarding the turbo that were affected by these checks, and they had a boost pipe failure in the first race, which handed it to Sascha Lenz. There was no repeat of that, though, on the Sunday. Norbert Kish went on to win both races on the day, looking very unstoppable, and then performing his rather famous donuts now that he did down at turn 1. This is up through turn 4. You can see on board here with Norbert Kish into the long right-hander at turn 5. It's very difficult, this corner, because you're hard onto the brakes trying to get the truck just tucked in that little bit towards the apex, try and hug the inside line and then let it run out wide on the apex, but it goes uphill and it starts very suddenly, so the truck really compresses at the rear end as you try and get on the power, and then as it goes up and over that crest, the understeer starts to creep in, and you will see trucks running wide through there. There's the very narrow chicane where they pretty much have to take it single file. You will see people try and make overtaking manoeuvres there. And then probably the trickiest part of the circuit, turns 8 and turn 9. They are so fast in these trucks. They're fast in any racing machine, to be honest with you, but through here with the understeer that they can experience, it is a really, really tough place to try and get the power down. And then the sort of more shallow turns 10 and 11, it's almost like a repeat of 8 and 9, but they're an even quicker set of corners, but a little bit more open. We look there at Steffi Halm, who starts alongside Antonio Alberthetti on the 3rd row of the grid. Steffi really feeling confident this weekend, as you heard in the preview. She was looking to get a podium for this weekend. And starting from 6th place, well, we've seen drivers get podiums from further back in the grid, so hopefully Steffi can get her foot down early on and stay with the front runners and make manoeuvres later on. Steffi, of course, this season is teamed up with Jochen Hahn as Die Bullen von Iveco, 2nd in the team's championship at the moment, only to Norbert Kish and Antonio Alberthetti. There's a quick look at the circuit. 14 corners, 24 degrees Celsius at the moment. Fantastic conditions to go racing. Just under 4.5 kilometres long. Right then, it's time to get this show on the road. Sascha Lenz is holding back a little bit around the outside of the final corner. He's hoping to creep up on Norbert Kish. But the 5th race of the championship and race 1 of the weekend in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship gets underway, and Sascha Lenz has had a beautiful start. There's big contact on the right-hand side of the grid. I think somebody was in the pit wall there. Teo Calve has certainly got bits flying off his truck. There was loads of smoke. Jochen Hahn covers off Antonio Alberthetti, but down the inside on the brakes goes Norbert Kish as hard as he can be. I think it must have been Teo Calvé that was in the wall on the right-hand side. Contact there between Martin Gibson and Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Andre Kurzim has just climbed all over the back of Jamie Anderson as well. Looked to me like Anthony Janiak actually had a bit of a problem. He seemed to be losing positions on the right-hand side of the circuit. But at the front, it's Norbert Kirsch, and then you've got Adam Lachko attacking Sascha Lenz. That's not in the plan for Sascha. He wanted a good start to go chasing after Norby, and look at that, he's got to come on somewhere. Adam Lachko not having any of it. Bodywork already hanging off Sascha Lenz's truck. He tries to hang him out to dry through turn 4. Doesn't quite do it. Jochen Hahn is waiting for the opportunity. Adam Lachko goes sideways. Now into turn 5. Jochen Hahn hung out to dry around the outside right now, but he uses all of the curb. Lachko gives him, well, not all of the room in the world. He's actually got rid of the overlap. Albacetti's going to be sat behind them watching all of this thinking, flipping out, calm down, boys. Need to calm down in these early stages. Lachko right in the middle of the sandwich at the moment. But Norbert Kirsch, he's loving this. He's trying to get away as quickly as he can. A little bit of a kick of the tail there as he goes through turn 9. That's turns 10 and 11. But Norbert Kirsch has made a fantastic start on this opening lap. Running away from Sascha Lenz, who locks up on the way into the right-hander. That is turn 12. And Adam Lachko has suddenly latched onto the back of him. The truck goes sideways for Sascha, and Adam's hung out on the right-hand side. That means that now Jochen Hahn can come back down the inside. There's even more contact there as Jochen gets on the power, kicks the rear end out. These trucks are 1,200 horsepower. They may have over 5,000 newton meters of torque, but they really can batter the rear end out. They really do dance around, but look at that lead at the end of lap 1 for Norbert Kirsch. She has disappeared up the road. Now you'll see the trucks fanning out here. There's no point in them slipstreaming one another. All they're doing is sitting in the hot air behind the truck in front of them. And they are limited to 100 miles an hour, so they will not gain anything by overspeeding. They'll actually lose out because they'll get a telling off from the stewards as Calvé looks down the inside of Brereton. Brereton's got damage on his truck. Anderson's got damage. Kurzim's got damage. Anthony Janiak just behind those guys as well. Janiak's dropped down to 11th position from 9th on the grid. Now here's a look at the start. So watch the left-hand side of your screen. Teo Calvé gets shoveled over. Wow, Shane Brereton just tries to clearly go for a gap through the middle or something and absolutely drills into the side of him. Wow, incredible stuff. It didn't even look like Teo had got that sideways from the initial angle, but that is amazing. Again, it just shows you, as there's the big contact between Reiner and Clemens Hecker. There's another look at it. So Steffi tries to cover off the gap, actually, to stop Shane coming through. Not really anything Shane could do there. You could tell that he backed out of it in the end, but that was a very scary moment. And then Steffi covered off the gap just after that. Now there is a slow-mo of Jochen Hahn going completely sideways. And you can see one of the penalty markers getting knocked over there as well. It's always dramatic fun. We've got 3 trucks under investigation, actually, for speeding at the start. And that is truck 77, which is Martin Gibson, 33, Jamie Anderson, and Heinrich Clemens Hecker in truck 25. Oh, big lock-up by Shane Brereton. Big lock-up on the way into turn 12. There's what's left of Andre Kurzim's truck as Jamie Anderson takes the advantage down the inside. And now Kurzim has to defend the inside line into turn 13. Jamie's going to get hung out on the right. Janiak's waiting in the wings here as well. Janiak actually gets alongside Jamie here as Kurzim has got rid of the overlap. He nearly goes into the back of Teo Calvé. Now we've got Lachko side by side with Jochen Hahn. These two have had a lot of fantastic battles in the past as well. Good to see them continuing on that road. Jochen with bodywork flapping around on the right-hand side of his truck. Down the inside. There you can see Lachko just running out of room in the end there. Or being shown the door, essentially. As you'll see, the penalties and the investigations are coming in. Judicial review provided by Smart Witness as well, of course. Smart Witness have onboard cameras in all of our trucks, and it really gives us a fantastic angle of certain incidents and lets us see things from a different perspective. And they're making a big change across not just this championship but motorsport as well, giving stewards and spectators and commentators like myself a different way of looking at things. It's great to have them on board. It's great to see the guys from Smart Witness again as well. Actually saw them all in the hotel this morning. But now, something that Lachko's not going to want to see is Antonio Albacete getting closer and closer to the back of him. Isn't that Freightliner a gorgeous piece of kit, though? It is a gorgeous looking machine, isn't it? The number 55 of Adam Lachko. And of course his teammate truck at Big Era, Teo Calve, in the number 20. But look at the way that Antonio is hustling now. Absolutely hustling. He's pushing very, very hard indeed. But Norbert Kish has nearly a 4-second lead over everybody at the moment. And unfortunately, Sasha Lenz just hasn't had the opportunity to stay with him in these early stages. But again, Albacete looking down the inside a little bit just to try and unsettle Adam Lachko. He's just filling his mirrors as much as he can. He now looks down the inside into turn 13. Is he going to go ahead with it? No, he's not. I think he's just trying to unsettle the Czech superstar. Adam, a really big deal back in his home country and a big deal in this championship as well. He won the title in 2017. He's been in the ETRC for 12 years. And in his debut season in 2011, he won 4 races outright as well. He made a fantastic first appearance. He's been racing in World Touring Cars. He's raced in FIA GT and GT3, Porsche Carrera Cup, Lamborghini Super Trofeo, even the Skoda Octavia Cup as well. You name it, Adam Lachko has probably raced in it. Right then, here's Teo Calve. Now he's having to defend from Heinrich Clemens Hecker here. I think Calve's had another issue or contact somewhere around this lap because he's dropped behind all of these guys. Either that or he must have some sort of damage from the initial contact. And you can see actually that left rear wheel, much like we saw on Norbert Kish's truck at Misano, that left rear wheel is buckled and I imagine not feeling too great right now. That's a real shame for Teo. One of the absolute stars of the show is Mr. Calve, leading the Promoters' Cup at the moment as well. He has 58 points in the Promoters' Cup, 3 race wins in that class ahead of Shane Brayton, who's on 1 race win, but he's finished on the podium in all 4 races so far in that class. And look at Andre Kurzim's truck there with the left rear wheel guard just floating up in the air. You can see it flapping around. It's interesting how that happens actually. Because of the way the wheels are spinning, they kick up all of the air underneath it. And there you get another look at that rear wheel on Teo Calve's truck. Now, it just shows you how versatile these trucks are, though, and how sturdy they are. Because if it was any other racing series, that truck would have retired, or that any sort of an advantage over everybody else. This is turn 14. Through the long right-hander, try and tuck it in on the right-hand side. Let it run out wide over to the left. Use the curb, but don't go over the top with track limits. And 33 and 25. That's Gibson, Anderson, and Hecker. Jamie Anderson, though, and Anthony Janiek both on 2 warnings for track limits. That's the penalty markers that we have here around the circuit. You can hear the tyres, the Goodyear tyres, screaming for mercy from Adam Lachko and Antonio Albacete. Here is a look at Martin Gibson. Getting a big slide sideways, lovely stuff, bit of smoke to go with it as well. I think he might have a bit of damage on that left rear because, let's not forget, he hit Heinrich Clemens Hecker on the exit of turn 1 on the very first lap. But here is Norbert Kish, your race leader, in the beautiful Revage racing machine. It's a very well prepared truck, it always looks good. They've done some fantastic aerodynamic adjustments to the front. You can see that sort of hexagonal honeycomb-like pattern cut out of the front of it to help the airflow over the front end. It looks good and it goes good. That's out of turn 8 into turn 9. Through the long right-hander they go. And this is Lachko, though, still with Albacete behind him. The two of them had a fantastic scrap at Misano a few weeks ago for the first round of the championship. Antonio taking a race win there, actually. One of his first wins in a long, long time. But he's still pushing on hard behind the Freightliner. The T-Sport Banau squad preparing another beautiful truck in the form of that MAN. It's always good to see the guys as well. They're a team not based too far from me, actually, back in the UK. And they make all of these humongous road trips over around with the championship. It's fantastic commitment from all these teams to haul all of the equipment, the people, the trucks themselves, all of it, all over Europe. It's a fantastic effort. And it's a great example for the industry as well, and that's what the ETRC is all about. And there is that left rear wheel on Martin Gibson's truck. Look at the state of that. It's been buckled in and it's obviously flattened the tyre, but the inside tyre, the inside wheel, is showing that it can sort of hold it up. And there, look, on Heinrich Clemens Hecker's truck as well, the right rear on his has gone down. But again, Antonio's still doing a great job, though, of chasing Adam Lachko. He's really filling his mirrors at the moment, isn't he? Seems like there's no escape for the number 55 machine. Adam had a fantastic battle here last season with Steffi Halm as well, which was one of the absolute highlights of the weekend for me. Steffi was not taking no for an answer, and it was a great, great scrap. Really leaning on each other through a lot of these corners as well that we see here. And there is Martin Gibson continuing. Not the debut he would have wanted out here in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship, but there's plenty more races to come this weekend. That's where the puncture is really going to hurt there, just leaning on it as he gets on the power through the right-hander at turn 5 up the hill. You can see it tries to step out slightly. It's a good-looking truck, the Iveco S-Way, though, isn't it? It's a very sinister-looking machine. As there is Teo Calve, running a little bit wide out the chicane, all over the grass, locking up on the way in. The truck clearly not behaving itself, and there is Sasha Lenz with a huge lock-up into turn 12. Manages to get it back together, though. And then we look back at Heinrich Clemens Hecker. Now, this truck has had its livery completed since Misano. It didn't really have all of the branding all over it for the first race meeting, but it looks fantastic now with all of these white highlights on it. You can see the steam coming off the brakes there as well. They try and keep the brakes around 450 degrees Celsius. That tends to be the sort of higher limit of the operating window. Certainly is an incredible number. But Norbert Kirsch, well, he's adding to even more incredible numbers in his career here in truck racing. Norby has won Clio Cup, he's won Seat Leon Cup twice. He dominated the 2015 championship here in the ETRC with 19 wins in the 2015 championship. Unbelievable. He's got 3 FIA ETRC titles, 2014, 2015 and 2021. This is his 12th year in the championship. And at Misano he secured his 150th podium. And he now stands on 65 race wins, his 38th pole. Catch back up to him or make any more progress. Apologies for that. There's a car alarm going off. Adam Lachko and Antonio Alberthetti still stuck together as they go into the final couple of corners. And still Antonio just can't quite find a way through. He's just not able to make it through yet. But I'm wondering whether he's lining up to have a go in the last couple of laps, or maybe even just the last couple of corners of the race. You often see these drivers put pressure after pressure on, as there's a little sign that Adam Lachko might be feeling that pressure as he locks up into turn 1, but makes a nice smooth exit of it, so Antonio can't capitalise there. But this is going to be a case of when one of them makes a mistake here, they're going to be pushing very, very hard every single corner there. You can see Antonio working really hard to get the truck stopped for turn 2. Get it stabilised on the way down to turn 3. Really fling it right through the kink. Don't let it run too wide because there's a penalty marker there on the outside. I'm surprised that's still standing, actually. Up towards turn 4. And there is Steffi Halm. Fantastic view of Steffi in the cab of the truck, really pushing the way round turn 4. And you can see just how big these trucks are actually in relation to the drivers as well. I mean, they're not quite the size of the trucks that you and I see on the road every day, but they are still very, very big machines. You know, they still revolve around the same principle. Now you can hear the tyres just skipping along the surface as they make their way round the chicane. Steffi's wonderful number 44 machine, this white and orange livery that she's always had, looks brilliant, doesn't it? Steffi, of course, racing this season in the Team Schwaben truck camp. She has 10 race wins in the championship, over 250 race starts. Her last race of 2021 was actually her 250th race. She has 1 pole position so far. The only thing missing from the resume is an overall title for Steffi. Bit of a lock-up into turn 13, but that's not going to upset the truck too much, to be fair. They can deal with quite the lock-up on the way into a corner. It's just when you have a really extended one, it makes the tyre feel absolutely horrible for the next couple of corners. But we continue on. And there you just got a quick view there of the beautiful scenery here at the Hungaroring. It's a fantastic view from all around the circuit of the surrounding towns and everything. As Norbert Kisch and Sascha Lenz continue on their way. This is Sascha now coming back down the hill out of turn 2, using all of the road on the left-hand side, nearly clipping the grass on the way through. And he has certainly made a break for it now and got away from Jochen Hahn. He's got a good couple of seconds between the pair of them right now. That bodywork on the front right of Jochen's truck may be just affecting it slightly. They're not the most aerodynamically dependent machines, these trucks, but it can make a difference, as it can in any form of motorsport, really. But look at the way that Norby's truck works. You can see the way that the whole body and the entire machine leans, but the contact patch for the tyres remains absolutely flat. They've got a lot of caster angle in their wheels, so when you see them in the paddock and in the pit lane and they turn the wheels really sharply to manoeuvre around whatever they're manoeuvring around, you'll see the wheel really leans outward. And that, when it's on the track, combats the fact that the body rolls so much. It keeps the tyre nice and flat and smooth along the floor. That's Shane Brereton making his way round. He is currently the highest placed driver of the Chrome category drivers. He continues on in 7th position. Everybody, by the look of it, is still running, actually. I don't think that we've had Martin Gibson go into the pits. He's currently bottom of the order, but it seems like he's still circulating, which is good, even with that damage that we saw him holding on to earlier. Now we have Andre Kurzim and Jamie Anderson right together. Massive chunk of bodywork missing off Andre's truck there. It's quite ironic that the team is named Don't Touch Racing, and he's clearly touched something very hard there, to be honest. That was part of the drama in the opening laps, where Jamie Anderson also lost that right rear piece of bodywork, which you can see is missing there, just over the wheels. But again, plenty of action in this race, you know, a lot going on, a lot of different battles all over the place. And we're on to the final lap now. Norbert Kisch has a 9-second lead over Sascha Lenz and Jochen Hahn. And it's Adam Lachko and Antonio Alberthetti rounding out the top 5. This is Norby just coming up through turn 5 now, the long right-hander. And once again, it's been an incredibly, incredibly impressive performance. Back with our onboard camera through the chicane. Shows you just how small that chicane really is, especially from the perspective of a racing truck. There again, you could just see how flat that tyre sits. Look there, when it leans as it goes away from us. And as he comes towards us here, watch the weight transfer. As the truck leans left, the tyre stays flat to the ground. It's fantastic to watch. They have such a well set up machine in the Rev Racing camp. And there you go, Norby. He knows that he's not far from home now, and that the checkered flag is going to be just around the corner. So he gets his foot down, has a bit of a slide out of there. Is he going to do the same out of these corners? There's not many spectators around that part, so he might not do that, but I expect full showboating from Norby right now. 2 corners to go, turn 13. He gets on the power nice and early, just tries to check out how easily the rear end will come around, and you can bet that this is going to be a nice flamboyant finish for the Hungarian on home turf. And there you go, he kicks the back end out, and in dominant fashion, Norbert Kish opens his account this weekend in brilliant style. Lovely stuff. That's his 66th win in the championship. And behind as well, Sasha Lenz also joins in with the pantomime. You've got to love it, but listen to the air horns go. That is a hugely, hugely popular result here at the Hungaroring. Norbert Kish taking that victory. And to win the Promoters' Cup in this race will be Shane Brayton. After a very, very trying start with Teo Calve, he takes the checkered flag, finishes 7th overall, but top of the Promoters' Cup. But Jamie Anderson is going to finish 2nd in that one, so he'll be on the podium for that. And then Teo Calve is going to join them by the look of it, as he crosses the line in 11th position behind Anthony Janiak. But it's Norbert Kish, Sasha Lenz, Jochen Hahn. Adam Lachko does finish ahead of Antonio Alberthetti. There is Calve across the line. But I imagine, he will be rather frustrated with how that race started and the contact that took place. But it'll certainly get looked at. But one man that's going to get looked at a lot this weekend is that man there, Norbert Kish, taking the first win of the weekend and taking it on home soil. It will not feel much sweeter than that. And here is another look at the sliding and the drifting at the final corner. Now, 3 of the 5 tons that these trucks weigh is over the front axle, so without all of that weight over the rear end, they can very easily get them sideways, kick the rear end out, and perform these fantastic drifts like this. You'll see a lot of it over the weekend. Even the marshal's giving him a fist bump there as well. All of the local officials, local fans, everybody will be really pleased with that one. You can see still just how hot it is here at Hungaroring. At points the cloud does come over, but it just remains so humid. It's hot absolutely everywhere you go, even in the shade. So these drivers, I'm sure, will be very happy to get out of their trucks and finish the race off. Here's a quick look at how it started, though. A brilliant initial launch from Sasha Lenz with all of the drama kicking off behind them. And then everybody following on in single file. Brayton makes a mistake while Calve drops down the order. A bit of damage there for Jochen Hahn. Norbert Kish just streaking away in front of everybody. Rennie Reiner with damage as well, but sorry, apologies there. That's an automatic reaction, isn't it? Martin Gibson with damage, Teo Calve and Andrei Kurzim. A lot of drivers in the wars in this opening race of the weekend. Jochen Hahn trying to stay in touch with Sasha Lenz. Didn't quite get there in the end, but it's another podium to add to the incredible tally of Jochen Hahn. That's his 262nd podium in this championship. Shane Brayton wins the Promoters' Cup, but Norbert Kish is our overall race winner. And we'll be bringing you the podium presentation and all of the sort of after-race proceedings in just a moment's time. But there you see the wonderful scenery here at this incredible circuit in this incredible country. Norbert Kish wins on home soil, and I'm sure his face right now looks exactly like that picture on the left. Sasha Lenz 2nd ahead of Jochen Hahn, who rounds out the podium. Lachko holds on ahead of Antonio Alberthetti. Then we have Steffi Halm 6th, Shane Brayton in 7th, Andrei Kurzim 8th, Jamie Anderson 9th, and Anthony Janiak rounding out the top 10. I'm sure you can hear the horns sounding as he makes his way into the pit lane now. Theo Calve finishes 11th, Heinrich Clemens Hecker finishes in 12th, and Martin Gibson completes the field and finishes despite the damage that he sustained early on. Again, lots of these trucks sounding their horns as they come into the pit lane. Great to see it. And that is how the championship looks after that race. Norbert Kish, 71 points to his name now, starting to streak clear of Sascha Lenz, who is only 1 point clear of Jochen Hahn. Jochen was second going into that race, but that slight difference in points turns that around. Antonio Albacete remains in 5th, and then there's quite a gap back to Steffi Halm and Adam Lachko. He's looking to turn his season around. I know it's early for that, but still needs to try and turn it around as quickly as he can. Martin Gibson shows his 9th place there, but of course points scored by René Reiner in previous races. Andre Kurzim rounds out the top 10. Janiak has 10 points in 11th position. Jamie Anderson with 3 points, and Stefan Faas only with the 1 point so far. He's going to be hoping for a bit more luck later on, either today or of course tomorrow. There's a look at the Promoters Cup. Theo Calve 10 points clear of Shane Brayton right now after that one, with Jamie Anderson in 3rd ahead of Stefan Faas, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, and then Martin Gibson. So there is a look inside the pit lane. Norbert Kish waves to his adoring fans and supporters. He's sort of giving a hand to his Revesh Racing team as well. Fantastic, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic. You've got to love it. And he's down there with Christina right now for a quick word.
I'm just waiting for a go. Okay, we're on. Congratulations also from Sascha Lenz here. You cheered with the crowd, and it was really from start to finish a good or a perfect race.
It was good. The start was a little bit scary. I mean, Sascha is really good at the start. I don't know what they do, but we have to find out how I can make a better start and a better acceleration towards turn 1, because he almost overtake me. I had to brake really late in turn 1. From then it was good, because turn 1 was good, the exit was good, so they were fighting behind me, and then I could get a nice gap quite quickly. So from there it was a rather calm race. But the start is always difficult.
So you've been a bit locked up during the first turn with Sascha Lenz?
Sorry?
Was there a bit of a contact as well?
No, we didn't touch. No, it was all fine.
So, race 1 in the books. Does that relieve you a bit for this weekend? I know we've got 3 races ahead of us.
Yeah, it's a long weekend, but this is why we like truck racing, and the reverse grid race is always exciting and difficult. So, stick around. 7 o'clock, you should watch.
And up to the podium. Thank you very much, Norbert Kish. And we're going to follow him, of course.
Yes, indeed. We'll go up there and have a look at the podium as well. But yeah, like Norby says there, that sets him up well for the weekend. Fist bumps all around. And it's a great, great way to start his campaign. Extending his lead in the Drivers' Championship. And that is what is most important to these guys at the end of the day. It's not just a one-off event. Of course, they have to score points across the whole season. And here you get a quick look at the walk up to the podium here at the Hungaroring, as they all prepare to make their way out. There's Rolf Werner, giving a quick congratulations to Norby. And of course, he has his own team actually doing their social media and all of their own sort of media work. There's Jochen Hahn following Sascha Lenz on. We also saw Lucas Hahn a moment ago as well, son of Jochen. He's here at the circuit once again, helping his dad in the racing. There is Lucas. Cool character as ever in the shades on the right-hand side. And now we see just a moment there in the sort of green room, as we call it, or the sort of cool-down room before they go onto the podium. There's the Revesh Racing team on the pit wall, ready to welcome Norby out with fantastic applause. And I imagine they're not going to be the only ones here this weekend. They're a very enthusiastic team and a really well-oiled squad. You know, they work so well together. They get the job done and they get it done quickly as well. It's a fantastic team that Norby's got behind him, and he's always very grateful for them. You know, he always makes sure that they get a mention, that they get their thanks on the broadcasts and everything. He's very appreciative of the guys that give him the truck that he needs to win these races and win these championships. So now we have the announcer up on the podium, ready to call the drivers out. Jochen Hahn makes his way out. Third position for Jochen. And there you see the trophies ready to be handed out. Sascha Lenz next up. He makes his way out, second on the podium. And there you go. There's the reaction. Listen to that. Phenomenal stuff for Norbert Kish. That will feel absolutely brilliant, won't it? And there are the trophies being presented. Third place to Jochen Hahn. Another trophy for the cabinet. Sascha Lenz will be next to receive his beautiful gold trophy that they give out here at the Hungaroring. And that will mean a lot to Sascha, because if he can't win these races against Norby, then to be second, well, it's damage limitation from that point. And listen to that. Wow. Amazing scenes as Norbert Kish takes the first race win of the weekend. And now the national anthem of Hungary. And there you go. Rapturous applause for Norbert Kish. And everybody is loving the atmosphere already this weekend. And as always, he will show his appreciation. I don't think he's quite going to get a soaking yet from Jochen Hahn and Sascha Lenz, but I'm sure if these guys are up there together on the podium for the second race, it will be a different story as they celebrate into the evening. Second race of the day is due to be at 7 p.m. tonight, as you heard Norby mention a moment ago. So it's quite the late one for us here, but there's a lot more racing action on the circuit. We're not the only championship here this weekend, so we have a bit of a combined race meeting. He's saying, come on, come to get soaked. I think they're saying, let's not soak him. They have to use the race suits a bit later. We've got quite the while until the next race. Oh no, they are going to get him. I hope he's got a spare. Fantastic. That's what you love to see. Great camaraderie between these guys. Lovely stuff. Lots of fun here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Lewis, our cameraman up there as well, got soaked as well, I think. Puts his beautiful hair out of place. But what a fantastic atmosphere here at the Hungaroring. And honestly, it's so cool to be here as well. To witness it all, speak to the drivers, see the teams, and see everybody, all of the organisers and the production crew and everything behind the scenes. To see all these events come together like this, it's just fantastic. And he really is the star of the show, isn't he? He's Norbert Kish. But it's completely understandable. He's got a fantastic history in this championship, and he's got an amazing following from his home country. And they all absolutely loved that one. I think in just a moment we may get the Promoters' Cup podium as well, where we'll have 3 more drivers out there. But there is Christina down there in front of the podium. What's the vibe like down there, Christina?
Yes, as you can see, they prepare for the Promoters' Cup. Champagne is on, and normally you don't get soaked after the first ceremony, but of course it's Norbiland, as Jochen Hahn was telling us at Misano. So I think they had a plan, those guys here. I don't know what you're saying, Chaz, but that looked really, really nice. So we'll have a look at the Promoters' Cup ceremony right now.
They were definitely planning together there. You could sort of see Sasha Lenz was maybe saying, do we soak him? Do we not soak him? But of course, Jochen Hahn, always up to mischief. He's a fantastic character, and I'm sure he would certainly be able to sort of, how would you say it? Convince anybody to soak Norbert Kish with champagne. There is Theo Calve up for 3rd on the Promoters' Cup podium. Jamie Anderson, who I shared a flight with on the way here, takes the 2nd spot, and Shane Brereton to the top spot as well. You can see, though, the body language of Theo Calve. I'm sure he will not be too pleased with how that race went. It may still be a podium and a trophy in the Promoters' Cup, meaning that he's been on the podium at every race this season in the Promoters' Cup, but the body language says it all, and I imagine he will have some chats with some drivers after that one to get an idea of what happened off the start, because that was a very, very scary moment for the young Frenchman. But your Promoters' Cup winner for the first race of the weekend, number 17, Shane Brereton. And now I'm sure we'll get the national anthem after the pitches. They take their pictures on the left-hand side, and now the national anthem of the United Kingdom. And there you go. Our top 3 drivers from the Promoters' Cup. Jamie Anderson will be happy with that one. He's had a lot of troubles with the truck, and a late entry to this season meant that he didn't get much testing done, so they're still developing the truck as best they can. So hopefully we'll see Jamie on the podium much more as the season goes on. And now are we going to see a different approach with the champagne here? They have got a long time before the next race. Theo Calve, look at that, professional as ever. One hand with the champagne. Good effort. Good effort. A clink of the bottles to each other, and they make their way off the podium with their winnings as such. But there is our wonderful podium here at the Hungaroring. And I believe we'll get potentially the team's podium out in just a moment. I'm not sure if they're going to drag any of the drivers or anything out there. But we will see, won't we? There you can see one of the cameramen up there with one of the best views in the house, it must be said. It's a really, really well-placed podium here at the Hungaroring. And there is Lucas Hahn. There you go. What a character to have on the podium. Fantastic. And there from SL Truck Sport 30. I believe that lady does the social media for the team. She's an absolute star. I forgot her name. I'm really sorry. But then we have, of course, Revesh Racing, a member of their team as well, on the top step of the podium. And trophies all around once again. I hope to see Lucas Hahn back in one of the trucks, actually, as this season goes on. He was an absolute star at Misano at the end of last season, and it'd be really good to get him back out on track with us once again. Don't you agree, Christina?
Yes, isn't that nice? Of course, all the teams get their moments on the podium as well. So this was race 1 here at the Hungaroring. Let's have a look at the highlights.
So there was a bit of tension in the air ahead of everybody lining up on the grid. All of the high temperatures here at the Hungaroring certainly making drivers maybe think a bit more about the tyres this weekend than in previous efforts. But of course, contact from the get-go, big hit from Martin Gibson with Heinrich Clemens Hecker, Andre Kurzim getting into Jamie Anderson, and the battles were ignited from then on. Kurzim and Anderson here side by side round turn 13 as Jochen Hahn got past Adam Lachko and tried to clear away from Antonio Albacete. Damage for Martin Gibson meant he would unfortunately finish at the back of the pack, but still great determination to carry on. But up in front of Norbert Kisch, it was all clear air. Everybody else sort of having some sort of issue in certain places, but Norby was more than happy to take the win in front of his home crowd and start the weekend off in terrific fashion. Sasha Lenz also joining in with the drifting, being a fantastic showman as ever and trying to stay in touch as closely as he can in the Drivers' Championship. But Norby stands on the top step, takes the trophy and gets a soaking of champagne to go with it as well. Shane Brereton takes the top spot in the Promoters' Cup.
So we're here with Shane Brereton. Good to see you here in the shades, of course. A bit smell of champagne over here. So how glad are you? First win at this weekend.
Yeah, no, it was good. Just a really sticky start. We had a really good start, and I don't think Steffi knew I was coming through, and ended up squeezing Theo. And we both let off at the same time, so we sort of almost locked together.
So you seem a bit exhausted because it's really hot also, and also, yes, of course, the adrenaline rising up during such a race.
It's quite a demanding track, this. It's all sort of accelerate, turn, brake. It is probably one of the most demanding physically.
Oh, reverse grid coming up then. What can we expect?
Well, hopefully I can get a better start this time on Steffi. So if we can do that, it'll be good.
Thank you very much. Time to cool down. I think you need to get out of this racing.
Yeah, well, we've got enough time to have a break, so.
Absolutely, because reverse grid will be taking place at 7 o'clock, isn't it, this evening?
Okay, I've got my headlights ready.
Thank you very much. So right now we do not need headlights. There's still some sun coming up and we do just need some sunglasses. So we are very well prepared and it's great to have the atmosphere here from the fans in the stands. Of course, they're cheering up. They've got the problem right now. We've got a lot going on track here, so we can't be bored, and I hope you won't be as well. Tuning in at 7 o'clock this evening on our live stream channels. And if you have a little time in between, just check our social channels. So Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. This is weekend 2. We are at the Hungaroring. Perfect start after race 1. So we do see us, huh? Don't we? I think so.